hit. He says the total price tag for Destination Crenshaw has jumped from $95 million to more than $150 million since this all began. Can we say when Destination Crenshaw is going to be completed?
You know, I'm very reluctant to do that. I mean, I know how much work there is left, but you don't know what's going to happen. And so, you know, we fully expect that we can finish it within the next calendar year. But again, given how long it's taken and how many delays there's been and, you know, weather events there have been, I'm real reluctant to tell people, okay, it'll absolutely be done at this day.
That was LA City Council President Marquise Harris Dawson speaking with NBC4. If there is one thing we understand here in South Los Angeles, it is the art of the pivot. But what you just heard from Marquise Harris Dawson regarding the stalled promise of Destination Crenshaw isn't just a pivot, it's an Olympic-level backflip into pure excuse-making. Let's unpack the math and the mythology here, shall we? We were sold a glorious vision. A 1.3-mile open-air monument to Black excellence, culture, and economic resilience along Crenshaw Boulevard. Fast forward to today, 6-7 years later, and the budget hasn't just grown, it has ballooned from $95 million to north of $150 million. That is a staggering $55 million leap. But when asked the most basic fundamental question to which a community deserves to hear an answer, when will the project actually be finished, what do we get?
Can we say when Destination Crenshaw is going to be completed?
You know, I'm very reluctant to do that. I mean, I know how much work there is left, but you don't know what's going to happen.
Friends, that is not a construction update. That's a horoscope. Stay with me on this. We heard COVID, we heard supply chains, and now we're hearing weather events. The weather in Los Angeles? This is Southern California, not the Arctic Circle. If our ancestors waited on perfect weather to build legacy, we wouldn't have the pyramids or any other cultural wonders to celebrate in the first place. Mr. Harris Dawson, you don't need a crystal ball, you need a calendar. You cannot celebrate Black excellence on paper while practicing bureaucratic mediocrity in execution. It's time to end the excuses, stop with this silliness, blaming weather forecast, and finally finish the work this community was promised. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Too many games.
First things first.
Things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not doing settle you. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First Black on Talk Radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique the Prima go way back. Tag Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted Black and Brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the Queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique the Prima. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning, and God bless. I'm Dominique DePrima. The show is called First Things First, and my very first thing every single day is prayer, giving thanks, giving praises, and asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors and the elders, and let's go. Got a lot to do, a lot to talk about, and it is Friday. Hooray for that. Okay, so here's how we do it on a Freedman Friday, which is every Friday. 800-920-1580 is the number if you want to get in where you fit in, anywhere, anytime. You are always invited. And then hour two, we focus on reparations. We do that. We've been doing that for over 2 years every week because we want to make sure we are on top of this. Want to make sure we're focused, up to date, and in pocket to be part of the momentum, the incredible momentum that's happening all around the world and certainly in the United States around the issue of reparations for the descendants of enslavement, Jim Crow, and all of the subsequent harms that go with it. So that's what we do. We've got Dr. Marcus Anthony Hunter joining us hour two today to do that. And then you can tap in with me, of course, on social media. You can find me at KBLA 1580 on every single platform. You can find me online at Diprima Radio, DIPRIMA, and then radio. And I'm available. I love to talk with you when the mic is on and when it's off. And of course, you know, or if you're new here, maybe you don't know, that we stream every day on Facebook, YouTube, and sometimes I jump on my Instagram. My personal socials are Diprima Radio, DIPRIMA, and then radio. The station, of course, is KBLA 1580. You better know that. I hope you have the app. So look, if you've got something on your mind, typically hour one we look left coast, hour two we go reparations, hour three is a bit of a grab bag, and we're on point for that today. We will be talking with Delzino Wilson de Briano, who is a follower of Marcus Garvey, and in the spirit of Marcus Garvey, a black business wealth builder. So all of that is coming up. All of that is on the table. I'm working to connect as well with Akili of Black Lives Matter Grassroots, who is in Ghana. We're having some technical difficulties with that, but we will see if that can happen, because sometimes the international connections are simply not reliable. But, you know, we work around these things. We are experienced Africa broadcasters around here, having done it 4 years in a row, broadcast. The only reason we didn't do it this year is because of the horrible Ebola virus, which forced us to cancel that trip with African Focus Incorporated, which was terrible and tragic because we all really, really, really wanted to go. But we will be announcing our new location for 2027 in 2 weeks. We've got an amazing tour teed up for you for 2027, and you can expect a rollout. We roll out to our prior travelers first, and then our KBLA family, our KBLA delegation second, and then the general public last. So if if you're looking for that, or you're thinking you might want to make a run for the border, that should be coming out the second week of September. I'm excited. Sad that we didn't get to go. And of course, that Ebola is still ravaging the continent. I mean, the motherland is still really suffering. This is in the central and southern area, the Democratic Republic of Congo in particular. So we have to avoid that area still. I hate to say it, because part of the suffering is due to this administration, the resident of the White House revoking all of this medical support that we had given to other countries through USAID to help stop things like Ebola and AIDS. And the African countries are very, very disciplined when it comes to stopping disease, which is why they did better than we did with COVID. But with this Ebola virus, it's a new strain. There's no vaccine for it. They're trying to even just use the old vaccine on the hopes that it would help, and they do not have the medical supplies to keep people safe at this point, which means that, happy eclipse, means that 60% of the people that contract it are dying now. It's among the thousands, and growing and on track to be the worst Ebola outbreak of all time. So, of course, we were not going to fly into that. But, any international aid organizations that you can give to at this point, as long as they're reputable, I wouldn't go with the mainstream brands. I would donate to, because there is a gap where the U.S. has now decided we can take people's minerals, their human labor, and their land and resources, their oil, but no longer will we render aid alongside that pillaging that we do internationally. I think we've got Akili on the phone. Akili is the founder of the Fannie Lou Hamer Institute and also the National Field Organizer Director for Black Lives Matter Grassroots. He's a long-time political mover and shaker, having worked on, I believe it's 6 or 7 different presidential campaigns, including that of Barack Obama, the first time he ran for president. Of course, this is before he dedicated his activism to the Fannie Lou Hamer Institute and Black Lives Matter Grassroots. Akili, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique, and good morning from the continent. I'm in Ghana today.
So I see. I'm glad we were able to find a way to connect with you. Sometimes there can be all kinds of unexpected barriers to international communication.
Yes.
Still, even in the internet age.
Yes, and I think it's just some simple things that we were able to get around. So I want to give a big shout out to Miles for helping.
Yeah, there's almost always a workaround. I remember one time we were on St. James Island, had not one single bar, not one single drop of internet connectivity. We tried and we tried and we tried, and we finally had to give up. But most of the time there's a workaround some kind of way, somehow. So I'm glad to have you on the phone. I know as the National Field Director for Black Lives Matter Grassroots, you are working intercontinentally at the moment.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have to be reminded from time to time that I am the international field coordinator for Black Lives Matter Grassroots, because we have chapters in Sweden, we have chapters in the Jamaicas, and we have over 56 chapters around the world. And so my role is in large part working with those chapters around the world and, communicating with them, supporting, assisting them, and making sure that we are working nationally or internationally together on projects and programs that we've agreed to by Black Lives Matter Grassroots,
right,
like the Free Karmelo international campaign.
Yes, and we will get into that. You can tell he's used to hosting his show because he just gets on the mic and takes over. Akili does host This Is Not a Drill many mornings, Saturday on this radio station, Saturdays from 8 to 10, and we will get into that. There is activity, action, organizing in various different forms taking place across the country and actually around the world this weekend around Karmelo Anthony. Free Karmelo is the call, and we will find out what that is, how you can join in, and why when we come forward. We're talking with Akili live from Accra, Ghana, and you at 800-920-1580 on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
The KBLA 1580 app puts the realest conversations right in your pocket. Stream live wherever you are in the world. No static. No searching the dial. A crystal clear connection 24/7, exactly when you want it. We recommend that you keep automatic updates enabled. Set it and forget it. So the app stays up to date with store requirements, bug fixes, and new features as we roll them out. Download the KBLA 1580 app today and stay plugged into the conversation everyone's having.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
My name is Asata Umoja. I'm with the Hyde Park Organizational Partnership for Empowerment, which is at the southern end of Crenshaw. And this community has been greatly impacted. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we're most concerned about is just being totally neglected. And what I mean is being excluded from the process. When this project first started, they should have made sure that our organization, since we were most impacted, was in there. So we've been excluded, and we've seen commercial properties be taken for art projects. And we're very concerned about these are spaces that could help build economic growth and development in the community. And what this community needs more of is economic development, not art. I mean, I like art. It's a good thing. But they're putting the cart before the horse, because without a solid economic foundation, what they are calling cultural tourism absolutely has no significance and no meaning. And this community is going under if we don't stop and do something to help build that economic foundation and support the businesses that are the tax base for this community to build the kind of services that we need. And the response from our leadership is totally inadequate.
Holding them accountable. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Self-destruction. You're headed for self-destruction. Self-destruction. You're headed for self-destruction.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
Right now, so in case you've been living under a rock, tell folks the story of Karmelo Anthony and where we are now. The teenager, of course, was denied a new trial by the new judge, who I believe is named Judge Michael Chitty. Can't make this stuff up. After a new judge was granted, because there appears to be, they said improper jury instructions, right? And also he made statements to the press that appear to show bias. So then after they appoint a new judge, and the new judge denies a new trial. But go back a little further in case folks don't remember the story of Karmelo Anthony.
Well, so let me give you a quick overview and update. First, Karmelo Anthony is a classic teenager, the kind of teenager that we all want in our lives. He was at a track meet, and he was being bullied and attacked by folks that have a history of bullying and attacking, particularly black people. He defended himself. He had a knife, which he used to clean off his track cleats, by the way, which was authorized him and others to have. And a fight ensued. He was defending himself, and another young person was killed. But he was defending himself, and that's the essence of what happened. And over the course, the most recent recusal action, because they tried to get the judge who squashed evidence that the young person that was involved in the bullying and the attack had a history of doing it. Him and his brother and his family had a history of doing that. They wrote racist stereotypes. They graffitied walls and the rest with racist stereotypes. And so they kicked a young girl in the stomach. So they had a history of violence. That evidence was suppressed in the first trial. It didn't come up. And the judge, the attorneys for Karmelo Anthony challenged that and to get the judge removed because he suppressed that evidence. And what they were seeking was not only to introduce that evidence, but also to get a whole new trial. So the judge was taken off, the old judge was taken off the case because he did make some inappropriate comments after the case. He said that Karmelo got what he deserved. So he was taken off the case. However, the new judge, Chitty, as you just said, was unwilling to grant a new trial. And so now it's moving on to the district appellate courts, to appeal that judgment and to try to get a new trial with all this new evidence.
And so, he's got a new legal team, which appears to be more experienced than his old legal team, but still was denied. But, Dr. Melina Abdullah, the director of BLM Grassroots, said on this show that there was a new judge, but they all knew each other, the prosecutors, the judge, and the new judge all knew each other, and that she was not hopeful that we would get a different outcome, and that's exactly what ended up occurring. I mean, it's clearly a good old boy a network. I see here that they are taking this case to the Texas Court of Appeals, the Fifth Court of Appeals in the state of Texas, which is, I guess, the next higher court. And it seems to me that the lawyers are determined to take it as far as they have to take it to get justice for Karmelo, to get a new trial and hopefully a more fair outcome. Clearly, this is a case of self-defense. They sentenced he was 17 years old at the time, which means means in a lot of states he would have been considered a minor and would have been taken to juvenile court. But in Texas, at 17, you are considered an adult. And so he was tried as an adult and is in an adult prison where he's been moved to and where he's been sentenced to 35 years, which is quite heavy-handed. So activists, I understand, Black Lives Matter chapters around the world are taking action this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. What is this action and who's doing it?
Well, a couple of things. I want to go back very quickly to the court case. One of the key elements in that court case was that there were no black jurors allowed. They were challenged and taken off. So there were people there, black people there, who could have been on the jury, but they were challenged and not in what they call a voyeur, and struck from the jury. So that's another factor in this whole case. But much like what happened with the Scottsboro boys, with the Free Huey, with the Free Angela, what this does is expose the injustice and the ingrained racism within the so-called criminal justice system. And so as a part of an international effort, over 24 cities around the world, quite frankly, are meeting, educating people, writing letters, posting, encouraging support for Karmelo, so that, one, he knows that he's not alone. Two, the family knows that they don't have to try to go through this by themselves and figure out what to do. And then finally, to remind people of the injustice within this system. And one of the things that comes to mind just immediately is Kyle Rittenhouse. Here's a man who walked, had an illegal gun, came from out of town, shot and killed two people, and he was found not guilty for his self-defense. The grocery store shooter who shot the young man in the back while he was running, and he got off. Choi got off and claiming self-defense. So there's this double standard of self-defense. There's self-defense for white folks, and then there's self-defense for black folks. And you can use Trayvon Martin as an example of that. And so part of what's happening is we want to, one, educate people about the injustice, two, build national and international support, and three, put pressure on the system so that they know that they are being watched, they know that they are being monitored, and they know that they are being, their actions are being recorded. And I want to go, I brought up the Scottsboro boys, the Free Huey and Free Angela. It was because those were international campaigns, efforts to free the 9 Scottsboro boys or Huey Newton or Angela Davis. That international pressure, that international monitoring, that international oversight, looking in, creates the kind of conditions where you are at least likely to get a fairer outcome.
Right.
You're not guaranteed it, but at least you're likely.
Right.
You're
you put the eyes of the world
on.
eyes of the world on the case rather than allowing it to be localized in the good old boy racist Texas court system. So you know this clock. A couple minutes here, less than a couple before news, traffic, and sports. What are some of the places that are taking different kinds of actions in support of Karmelo Anthony this weekend?
Well, right here in Ghana, we're going to be meeting on Sunday at 3 p.m. Right after church to get together to, one, educate ourselves about the Karmelo Anthony case and what's happening with it. I was fortunate enough to be able to meet some people here in Ghana through my wife and others, and so we're going to be getting together to go online, to write letters of encouragement, write statements of encouragement. But that's just right here. Our Stockholm chapter just posted their flyer, and they're doing the same thing on Saturday the 29th.
Stockholm, Sweden.
They're getting together to Stockholm, Sweden. Yes, got to say that. And then the 23 chapters around the country, 23 groupings around the country, Kenosha, Wisconsin, where Kyle Rittenhauser was found not guilty, Chicago, Boston, Buffalo, and you can go to freekarmelo.net and see all of these the cities and groups around the country that are participating in this. And then we're going to have a rally in Houston and Dallas, a car caravan rally, where we're going to drive from Houston to Dallas and bring people, because Dallas is, Collin County is right outside of Dallas. And so we're going to have a big rally there.
Okay, we'll get all
Dallas.
The details of that, Akili, after news, traffic, and sports. I'd love to know, what that car caravan consists of. I know there's an action here in Los Angeles as well. We'll get into it. We're taking your phone calls. All that straight ahead on KVLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Mike Island with BIN News Now. Local governments across the United States are increasingly reviving and expanding juvenile curfews. According to the Office of Juvenile Justice, this wave of legislation is primarily a response to teen takeovers that we've been reporting to you over the summer. Meanwhile, in Raleigh, North Carolina, leaders are planning to vote on a teen curfew next month, as their police chief is citing a trend of increasing violence. Police Chief Rico Boyce reports a year-over-year increase. Chief Boyce, who is African-American, explained in a recent press conference in Raleigh that it is time to be proactive.
Making sure that our youth, that they are safe, but also those youth that are juveniles who are committing crime, that the victims of those crimes, that they're safe.
According to the Raleigh Police Department, crimes involving juveniles are up 9% compared to this time last year. Get BIN News Now, on demand 24/7 on the free iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the tackle? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NFL is eliminating all of the games and skills activities at the Pro Bowl. There will be no more competition of any kind related to the NFL's postseason honor. Players voted to the Pro Bowl in the 2026 season will be honored during a banquet here in Los Angeles. The banquet will take place a week before the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 61 is at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood on February 14, 2027. The Big 12 Conference is the latest conference to ban professional athletes from returning to school for a fifth year of eligibility. The Big 12 joins the Big 10 and SEC. The Atlantic Coast Conference is meeting this week to consider taking similar action. The decisions by the NCAA conferences is a strong show of defiance against a federal court ruling that allows athletes to return to school if they fail to make the professional team that drafted them or signed them as a free agent. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Noise in here this evening. And close the doors because we gonna party in here all night tonight.
The choice is yours.
They're all coming to one stage, one day, one event.
Are you ready?
It's the California Voices Town Hall and Ballot Forum, Saturday, October 3rd. Look who's talking. Javier Becerra and Steve Hilton, Karen Bass and Nithya Raman, Robert Luna and Alex Villanueva, City Attorney candidates John McKinney and Marissa Roy, plus Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kolinakis, Attorney General Rob Bonta, Secretary of State Dr. Shirley Weber, State Controller Malia Cohen, and other candidates running for statewide office, all discussing the issues that matter most to you.
The choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that.
Plus, a full breakdown of all the ballot propositions. This is the event where California decides. One day, all the voices, our stage turns every 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And you can't beat that with a bat.
It's the California Voices Town Hall and Ballot Forum, Saturday, October 3rd, brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the Community Voter Education Project. Mark your calendar now. Make plans to join us live and stay tuned for more details. All the other stations are covering the election. We're putting you in the room. We're KBLA Talk 1580, where the candidates come to you.
You can get with this or you can get with that. I think you get with this. This is where it's at, where it's at, where it's at, where it's at. Come on. Oh no. Tear the roof down.
I don't know if we have time.
Please, God, save us. Save our house. Please, God, please.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we haven't forgotten what happened Tuesday, January 7th, 2025.
The trauma, processing the loss of our home. How do we address the compounding effect of the fire now more than 18 months later? I noticed one of my 3 children engaged in self-harm who hasn't been able to articulate the challenges that they've had since the fire. And 4 out of the 5 folks in our household are in therapy. 1 is not. And the one that's not is the one who I noticed with some marks on their person. This isn't okay. You need to talk to someone.
Black historical memory keeps alive the stories and struggles of everyday people and communities. Black historical memory preserves truths that others attempt to erase, minimize, or distort. Black historical memory prevents history from repeating its worst chapters. At KBLA Talk 1580, we will never forget. Tune into Conversation Live, Altadena Forward with James Farr, weekends on KBLA Talk 1580.
What's good, KBLA delegation? I am Miles Lowe, and I'm excited to be joining the weekend lineup right here on KBLA Talk 1580. Join me every Saturday at 12 noon for the Do Better Show, where we get into the world of tech, AI, the creator economy, navigating your mental health through it all, and have conversations with founders to find out how real people are making real money right now. It's not a course, not a subscription. Class is in session every weekend, live on the air. So if you knew better, you do better, right? So let's make a better you. The Do Better Show, every Saturday, 12 noon, and replaying again at 7 p.m. right here on Unapologetically Progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We got a lot to talk.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Indeed. You're waking up with me and also Akili of Black Lives Matter Grassroots and the Fannie Lou Hamer Institute joining us this morning from Accra. Ghana, where they are organizing this weekend around the support and demands for Karmelo Anthony. Karmelo Anthony, still a teenager. He was just 17 when the incident took place, and now he's 19. He's been he's been now lately in an adult prison. He's been sentenced to 35 years, denied a new trial. You know, when you put this in the context of the Scottsboro boys, when you put this in the context of sort of the good old boys Klan-style justice of the old South, where everybody knows each other in these small towns, and this judge knows that judge, and that cop knows that cop. It seems like very overwhelming, but at the same time, as you pointed out, this has now become not just a national but an international issue, and I think that I hope that will make a difference. People are starting to, really take this up in all corners of the world. However, there's a lot of polarization around this. Every time I post in support of Karmelo Anthony, a lot of racist trolls jump on my page.
And they give, yes. And I think that the same thing happened with Angela Davis. The same thing happened with Free Huey. The same thing happened. Because white people are unwilling to accept that, one, we have a right to defend ourselves. Two, because of racism and bigotry, that we cannot be innocent. That we cannot do what it takes to look at Trayvon Martin. Look at that miscarriage of justice that freed George Zimmerman, and that
Gav Haynes is in my chat talking about not to defend Rittenhouse, but they were chasing him. Why were they chasing him? Because he took it upon himself to go get a gun, cross state lines, and go to a protest. No one was chasing him while he was in his own home minding his business or going to a track meet to enjoy the activities. No, this is a guy who got a gun, got in a car, drove across state lines to intrude on a protest with malintent. It is not the same as someone just randomly chasing you. B. Bell says, seems like stand your ground doesn't apply to us. And, I have to agree. Selena Ricks says Karmelo Anthony was defending himself against a well-known bully, point blank, period. Victim, black man, free Karmelo. Molly Bell says she agrees. So clear to us, and I think it's important to remember, I'm reminding myself, Akili, that a lot of these trolls, these racist trolls, are actually bots. I mean, they could be anywhere, too. They could be in the Ukraine, they could be in Russia, or they could be, Donald Trump's human printer, commenting from the trunk of an SUV. Like, we don't know who these people are or if these people are. But the fact is, there has been a coordinated and concerted effort by influencers, right-wing conservative influencers, provocateurs, and small-town racists to smear Karmelo Anthony, his family, and his name. And you can even see it in the press, the pictures that they choose to show of the young man who unfortunately died in that incident, was killed, Austin Metcalf. They choose pictures of him when he was like 14 rather than the pictures of him as a 200-plus pound football playing 17-year-old that he was when he went after Karmelo Anthony. You talk about the suppression of evidence through this so-called gentleman's agreement, which showed that the Metcalf twins, as I suspected, were well-known bullies, because we know in high school who the bullies are, who would actually beat you up, right? Who is an actual threat. We know who they are, and clearly he did. That's why he defended himself with his pocket knife and then ran. However,
to the police.
Yeah, ran and then told the police the story. However, maybe you can address, because a couple people have brought it up on this show, that there was also evidence that came out in the hearing for a new trial that did not show Karmelo Anthony in a favorable light. Texts that he allegedly made with his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend that included, threats to her, threats to the school, and problematic language.
Yeah, and I think those are false equivalents. That we never said, and I get this gentleman's agreement that you don't bring up something bad about my client, and I won't bring up something bad about your client. But what that does is obscure justice. And I think to suggest or imply that somehow or another that Karmelo Anthony was a bully, was a bigoted person, a person that had posed a threat within the community, I think is a stretch too far. He may, and I'm not suggesting that he was completely perfect, and he may have had some bad behaviors, but it was not the same level of consistency and
and not only that, Akili,
as the twins.
Yeah, well, the twins are actually putting hands on people. They're beating people up. They're writing racist graffiti. They're taking action. What is alleged against Karmelo Anthony, should it prove to be true, because these are texts that we're getting allegedly from an alleged ex-girlfriend, if this turns out to be true, these are him talking smack on text. This is him, if it's true, doing teenage fantasy, actions on text, which is not the same as actually going somewhere and putting hands on someone, or doing racist graffiti and threatening people live and in person. I think it's a very different level.
Oh. But that's what I mean about the false equivalency, that we find discrepancies, however minor or however different, and then we use that and say, see, it's the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. And I think that we saw that in Rittenhouse, we saw that in George Zimmerman, we saw that there's this false equivalency that somehow or another you did something in your past, and so you deserve what you got. And I think that's the kind of thing that this injustice really underscores and highlights. That had in the first trial all of that information about those brothers and writing that graffiti, beating up that girl, beating up and kicking in the stomach that child, and other things, had that come out in the trial, maybe it may have given the jurors a different impression. However, in that community, in Collin County, Texas, I'm not always sure. That's why it's being appealed, and that's why there has to be an international call and cry to free Karmelo. Because if not, this will be swept under the rug. This young man will wind up basically by the time he gets out, he'll be in his 50s or something, and a whole life will have been lost. And so that's part of the reason why there is this whole international Free Karmelo campaign that's happening now.
The International Free Karmelo is focused on Saturday and Sunday. Tell me about what's happening here in L.A.
Well, here in L.A.,
for you it's there. You're in Akaragana, I know.
Yes, but I'm accustomed to saying it. We are doing at the Center for Black Power at our building, we are doing a rally and letter writing campaign there. So asking people to come in, write letters, post on the website, your encouragement, and more importantly, educate people about what happened, and then ask you to tell other people and educate them. Because the more people who learn about this, the more people who become informed about this, the more people who see the injustice and the discrepancy in this, the bigger the base of support is. And so that's going to be Saturday. I think it's at 2:00 at our building at 43.
Go ahead.
Center for
that's the BLM LA Center for Black. Yeah, it's a Black Lives Matter Los Angeles Center for Black Power. It's right next to the Leimert Park train station, if you know where that is, right off of Crenshaw on 43rd Place, not Street. 43rd Place, right across from the actual park of Leimert Park, at the BLM LA Center for Black Power. Yes.
3423 West 43rd Place. So come out and join us. Come out and be a part of the the international effort to free Karmelo, this is happening around the world. The other thing that's happening is there's a car caravan through Texas from Houston to Dallas, and then there's a big rally in Dallas, which is I think 20 miles or 30 miles right outside of Collin County, where the incident happened and where the trial is. And so there'll be a big rally there, and there'll be people coming out to offer support and encouragement to Karmelo and to the family, because one of the things that we have learned is that what the families go through in these kind of incidents is, they have to keep the family together. They have to be supportive of their child who's in custody, and they have to keep thriving themselves. And so this will be a message not only to Karmelo, but also to Karmelo Anthony's family, that he is not alone, and that we are going to continue to struggle to overturn this injustice.
Yeah, Cav Haynes is still defending Kyle Rittenhouse in the chat. He says the video shows him running away. Yeah, but why was he there in the first place was my point. He was there because he took his own little self with a gun to a BLM rally to start trouble. Sorry. I don't have sympathy for you if you did that. In any case, the point about the families is a strong point. It's an incredible burden to go through this in the middle of the mourning and and everything that's been taken from the family. You can go to freekarmelo.net. I went there. I found it a tiny bit confusing, but when you get to the landing page, it says we were coming anyway, and then there's a little tab that says find your city, and if you click on that, it'll tell you the details of whatever city you're in, what actions are being taken, whether you're in Atlanta, Gary, Indiana, Kenosha, Wisconsin, Evanston, Illinois, Chicago, Dallas, DeKalb, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Miami, Florida. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Boston, Buffalo, Santa Clarita, Stockholm, Accra, Boise. There are actions going on for Karmelo Anthony right now, coming up on Saturday and Sunday. And I think that it's beautiful that black folks are not just giving up and saying, oh, well, they said no new trial. Guess we'll all go home and cry. And of course, I always talk about this on this show, and this, Akili, that just because the mainstream media is not covering Black Lives Matter grassroots does not mean that the movement is over, does not mean that the action is over, that the commitment is not happening, and that the activism has ceased, because there are now 56 chapters of Black Lives Matter grassroots, which is more than there were in 2020. So yes, it's true. It's not on the front page of the Washington Post. It's not leading the news on NBC or CNN as our news outlets become more and more consolidated under conservative right-wing ownership. That should not surprise you. But the movement literally continues, not just in your city, but around the world. We'll continue our conversation with Akili, the international field director for Black Lives Matter Grassroots, when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
You can't fix what you won't face. And we face it every day. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
When you're finally off the clock after a long day, dishes put away, kids asleep, feet kicked up, heartburn. Don't let heartburn take over your hard-earned moment. Quick, Alka-Seltzer. Nothing works faster for heartburn relief. Alka-Seltzer effervescent tablets begin neutralizing stomach acid in seconds, so you can get back to your one more episode marathon. Quick, Alka-Seltzer. Because nothing works faster for heartburn relief. Use as directed.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, I'm Dominique DePrima. Taking care of our aging loved ones is always a top priority. But do you know that the rising cost of the long-term skilled nursing home can easily exceed $10,000 a month? Be aware that that cost isn't covered by health insurance, Medicare, or the VA. Even short nursing home stays can wipe out your family savings. Attorney Zoran Basic and his firm, Nursing Home Solutions, can help most middle-class families qualify for nursing home benefits to be paid by the state. You've heard Zoran Basic on my show, and you remember that these are benefits that you have earned. Protect your assets that have taken a lifetime to build. Keep the savings, the family home, and the business. Call Zoran at Nursing Home Solutions at 800-773-6467. Nursing Home Solutions does not require in-person meetings. The phone number is 800-773-6467. That's 800-773-6467, or log on to nhscare.com for Nursing Home Solutions.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
Indeed it does, and you're across the pond, the other pond, you've crossed the railroad of bones, as my father used to call it, under the Atlantic, and returned home to the motherland. Talking Karmelo Anthony, but before we get back into what folks can do and why we wear purple and what's happening in Dallas and Houston with the caravan, you have an event coming up with the Fannie Lou Hamer Institute. I want to mention it real quick because we don't get to talk to you all the time since you're way over there. But you have an event coming up on October 6th, I believe, here in Los Angeles.
Well, it's actually October 10th. Fannie Lou Hamer's birthday is October 6th.
That's why I was thinking October 6th, yeah.
Yeah. That's why we gently commemorate her birthday and try to recognize her contributions and her legacy. And we even started the Fannie Lou Hamer Institute because she represents the kind of spirit and capacity that that movement expressed that got us to where we are. And too often we kind of think that we are starting from where we are. We're not building on what's already been done. And she was a powerful woman, a classic working class who stood up for her rights and the rights of others. And so we want to remember her. We want to remember her contributions, her legacy. And more importantly, we want to make sure that we find the Fannie Lou Hamer in ourselves and be able to stand up when things look bad and look dark. And now,
Akili, you know we're up against the clock here. Yes. So when, where, how can we tap into this organization, to this event on the 10th?
We're going to be doing it in conjunction with the Black Worker Center, and that's on October the 8th. And then we are hosting a virtual forum on the 10th. So we're looking forward to communicating with people and reminding people about who she is, her contribution, and the fact that she was a trailblazer.
And we can tap into that. The LA Black Worker Center is here on Crenshaw. You can just go by. But as far as the virtual, how do we tap into the virtual event?
Well, we're planning and going to have the information out within the week.
So Fannie Lou Hamer Institute, I know, is on Instagram. That's one good place to look.
Yes.
Tell me about a thing.
And you can also check our website, the Fannie Lou Hamer Institute website.
Excellent. We just got 4 minutes left, Akili. Tell me what's happening in Texas with this caravan and why we wear purple.
Well, a couple of things. Purple was his favorite color, is his favorite color. And so we have decided that we want to, once again, in an effort to connect and support him, we want to wear purple. Secondly, we want to, make sure that the people in Texas who are really under the gun and most impacted are coming together in Houston and Dallas and major cities where this kind of injustice has become, unfortunately, very commonplace. And so there's a caravan from Houston to Dallas, and then there's a big rally in Dallas, which is right outside the courthouse, the Collin County, not far from the Collin County courthouse, to mobilize and educate people about the Free Karmelo campaign, what they can do. There's a call to vote, not vote for some judges that are up for re-election, and some other things that are going on there. And so we're focusing on Texas, and I want to give Dr. Melina Abdullah a shout-out, who's in Texas now, helping to do that mobilization and driving that effort. So if you're in Houston, if you're in Dallas, look for us. We're going to be having a Free Karmelo rally on the 29th in Houston and on the 30th in Dallas.
And all of that is up at freekarmelo.net, Free Karmelo, Karmelo with a K, freekarmelo.net, and you click on Find Your City, and there's actually there actually are flyers and information for every single action that's going on so far. And so folks can actually, if you're in Texas, you can actually join that caravan, right?
Yes, you can, and join the rally. The more people that come, the better. You've said you just got these racist responses. You can imagine what it's like on the ground there. You can imagine what it's like, with people showing up and doing things that are openly racist. And so we have to push back against, so that we are not intimidated, and that we're going to continue to demand justice.
Yeah, I've seen it on video too, and I can only imagine what's like inside the prison for Karmelo, and the racism that he's being subjected to, which I suppose is why folks are writing letters. And there are guidelines if you want to write letters, because all of these letters are going to be open and read by the prison. You don't want to make things worse for Karmelo. So if you want to write a letter, you can go to freekarmelo.net, right, or check in with any of these actions that are happening Saturday and Sunday.
Yes, you can, and we look forward once again to having a big weekend of turnout and education and participation to free Karmelo and fight back against the injustice.
Yeah, and I can imagine, being a kid, he's still just 19, sitting in prison, that getting a bunch of letters from folks you don't even know that are just encouraging you and sending prayer. We have to keep it positive. Nothing, no cursing, no racism, no, nothing that would get him in trouble. But that getting all of these encouraging letters from people you don't even know would be uplifting for him and the family, and just knowing they're not alone, no one's forgetting about you, and just letting you rot in an adult prison.
And very quickly, one of the things that we have been doing is that we collect the letters and then we send them, because we don't want to publish his information like that, because just as saying the racists will find out, and then they'll start sending him letters. And so we are being very careful in what we do. And so come out and join us.
Absolutely. That's why the family is asking not to post the mugshot of the young man or any mailing addresses. So just tap in with freekarmelo.net. Akili, thank you for all you're doing, and how exciting that you're now organizing internationally.
Yes. Well, thank you, Dominique, and it's always a pleasure to join you here.
Absolutely. It is time for Freedman Friday. Dr. Marcus Anthony Hunter joins me next. We're talking reparations on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Island with BIN News Now. Local governments across the United States are increasingly reviving and expanding juvenile curfews. According to the Office of Juvenile Justice, this wave of legislation is primarily a response to teen takeovers that we've been reporting to you over the summer. Meanwhile, in Raleigh, North Carolina, leaders are planning to vote on a teen curfew next month, as their police chief is citing a trend of increasing violence. Police Chief Rico Boyce reports a year-over-year increase. Chief